right, guys. New Alien movie under the helm of Fede Alvarez. C-Web says, "Oh man, is Alien a remake? This is news to me." Yeah, this is one of those news things that just kind of they like dropped it and somebody ran, like almost like somebody, like it fell out of somebody's pocket, like somebody had like some alien news in their pocket and they were digging for their keys and it fell out and they didn't realize it and they left and it just dropped on the internet. And because 5 minutes after that story dropped, nobody was talking about it, and I was just thinking, God damn, this is Alien. This is like one of my favorite franchises. So let me read the story, and then we're going to talk about Alien, okay? Because I got some thoughts. All right, so new Alien movie in the works with Don't Breathe filmmaker Fede Alvarez. Exclusive. Your screams in space will be heard if Fede Alvarez has anything to do or to say about it. The filmmaker behind Don't Breathe and 2013's remake of Evil Dead has been tapped to write and direct an original standalone Alien feature for 20th Century Studios. Ridley Scott, who directed the original sci-fi horror released in 1979 and returned for two 21st Century installments. I thought it was like 20th Century Fox. Why are they calling it 21st Century? Oh, they're saying that's when it came. I'm sorry. I was thinking of 20th Century Fox. My bad. Will produce via his Scott-free banner. Okay, so Ridley Scott is involved. That's good news. The project is intended to be made for Hulu. Here we go, guys. Here we go. As part of 20th Century's ambitions to make more than 10 movies a year for the Disney-operated streaming service. Alien and its many sequels and prequels focus on the horror of a ferocious race of alien beings called xenomorphs, who implant eggs inside living bodies via facehuggers that violently burst out of chests, which they reach a certain stage of maturity. Dan O'Bannon wrote the first movie, which blah, blah, blah. We already know that. Two more movies with Weaver followed in the 1990s. Will cross over with Fox's other sci-fi franchise, Predator, Alien vs. Predator. We all know that. Alvarez's take is being kept deep inside the studio's chest cavity. I like that play on words. But sources describe it as unconnected to the previous movies. So this is kind of like a reboot. According to sources, Alvarez is a rabid fan of the franchise. Any director's a rabid fan, especially a horror director, is going to be a rabid fan of Alien. And casually pitched a take to Scott many years ago. Okay, so he was actually in the office with Ridley Scott. They had a meeting. This is good news. Okay, the idea remained implanted in Scott's brain until late last year when he called Alvarez out of the blue and asked him if he was still up for it. Alvarez didn't have to be asked twice. 20th Century picked up the project purely off the strength of Fede's pitch, said division president Steve Asbell. It was just a really good story with a bunch of characters you haven't seen before. Asbell, who recently spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about the future of 20th Century Studios, said, by doing the project for Hulu, there wouldn't be the pressure to whittle down the potential edginess that could come with theatrical considerations. And I guess that ties into Fede Alvarez because he's definitely the type of director that doesn't hold back. If you've seen Evil Dead, if you've seen Don't Breathe, he likes to go for the jugular. I still don't like that this is not going to theaters. All right, and I'll get more into that in just a sec. It's not a film that has to be all things to all people with those gargantuan budgets. They get to be authentically what they are, and this is closer to its genre roots. Alvarez is certainly a filmmaker who loves his genre work. He has gained a following for the unsparing horror projects, including writing and directing the Evil Dead remake and co-writing and producing Netflix's remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He found commercial and critical success as the thriller Don't Breathe, a story co-wrote and directed. Breathe engendered a sequel that was released in 2021. I guess the biggest thing that I don't like about this is that an Alien movie's not going to theaters, because this would be the first time ever that an Alien movie, or a Predator movie, to be honest, would not be in theaters. You know, it's a double-edged sword, because streaming services can help get properties made, because if we didn't have a streaming service like Hulu, then maybe this would have never seen the light of day, because studios they don't like to take gambles in theaters anymore. It seems like it. It seems like what gets played in theaters now is usually got to be your big superhero movie, you know, your highbrow type films, A24 type stuff, experimental stuff, but they don't like putting, I guess, lower budgeted horror properties like Alien. I guess they don't like putting them in theaters anymore because, let's face it, the Alien franchise, these movies weren't gargantuan blockbuster hits. Alien and Aliens, both those movies were big hits. Alien 3, it was not a big hit. You know, it's got a cult following. I love Alien 3, especially the assembly cut. The assembly cut's the closest to what David Fincher wanted, but you know, they're just not big hits. And so I guess from a financial standpoint, I completely get it. And if that means we get a new Alien movie that we would have never gotten in the first place, then I guess it's a good thing. And at the end of the day, a great movie's a great movie. But my big thing is when a property goes to streaming, there's a few more factors that come into play outside of a box office draw, because there is no box office draw. It's all numbers. You know, how many people watched this? And to me, that feels kind of hollow. And let me know if you guys disagree with me on this, okay? If I'm being selfish here, my biggest thing about Alien is this is the most cinematic horror franchise of the bunch. You know, there's just something so big about the Alien franchise. And when I watch one of these movies on the big screen, it's an event. When I saw Covenant, because I was deployed and I didn't get to see Prometheus, which that still to this day that kills me that I didn't get to see Prometheus in theaters, because those movies feel larger than life. Say what you want about Prometheus and Covenant, because I know a lot of people don't like those movies, but I adore those movies. I love that Ridley Scott had a new vision and didn't want to do the same old, same old. The Alien franchise is so freaking important to me. It's the only horror franchise, where I give a perfect rating to 4 of the movies. I don't think any other franchise, in my mind, does that. You know? For me, Alien, Aliens, Prometheus, Covenant. All 4 of those movies are top-notch. 5 out of 5 for me. Alien 3 is easily a 4 out of 5. Alien Resurrection, yeah. It's got some nice visuals. Okay, I'll give it that, but it's like a 3 out of 5. But yeah, I love the Alien franchise, so I'm kind of torn on this. Also, the next factor is Fede Alvarez, and as Circa 30, Steve brings up a good point. Steve is my newest patron, by the way. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, man. My newest Patreon patron. Thank you, good sir. But this is where I need you guys' feedback. Well, I guess I want you, like, does it bother you that this isn't going to theaters? Or are you like, hey, it's cool, I can watch it at home? You know? Or do you even care? That's my first question. So answer that right now, okay? Answer that right now, all right? And I'll start talking about my second point, okay? Is one of my favorite young directors working today. When I say young, he might be my age. I don't know. He probably is my age. But as much as I like him, he does have a certain style. There is kind of an artistic nature to the Alien franchise. I think even Aliens, which is a full-on action sci-fi movie, there's still kind of a highbrow artistic. Because let's face it, Alien, for horror fans, it is like highbrow horror. Am I right on that, guys? Or do you just see them as like creature features? I don't know. I hold Alien really high. Am I holding it too high? Fede Alvarez, he does a different type of movie. And don't get me wrong, there's tons of blood and guts in Alien movies. There is. So he might be perfect. But I think his take might be a little bit more contained and small scale, which can work, which can be fine. From that article, it sounded like that's what it is. It's a smaller idea that doesn't cost as much money, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if you really look at the first Alien, It's pretty much a ship with an alien that is loose. That's pretty much what it is. The set design is goddamn glorious. You know, still to this day, some of the greatest practical set design ever put to film. The first Alien. What they were able to do with that movie, what Ridley Scott's vision was able to create, made Alien feel like $1 billion. The movie felt like $1 billion. It just felt massive just because of how great that set design was, you know? You didn't feel like you were on Earth. You could swear that you were in space. Fede Alvarez, you know, he didn't direct, but he was behind the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I had a blast with, but it's a completely different type of movie. It's like a cheeseburger blood splatter movie. The closest movie that I could call, like if I had to take every Alien movie, including Alien vs. Predator, and say which one, I'll ask you guys this before I answer. Include Alien vs. Predator, okay? I want you to take every Alien movie and Alien vs. Predator, pick one of those movies and tell me which one, if you had to say Fede Alvarez directed, if you had to say it's most like his style, which one would you say? Which one would you say? Predator, I'm excited for with Hulu's movie. Prey. I was going to mention that too. There's going to be like a prequel like set in the 1700s for Predator called Prey, and that's also going. So Alien 3, and there's no wrong answer here either, guys, okay? Alien 3 does have a very dark, gritty nature. And you can say, if you look at movies like Don't Breathe, Fede definitely had some inspiration from like Fincher. You know, if you can compare Don't Breathe to like Panic Room. So I can see where you'd get Alien 3, but David Thorson is the one that I'm thinking of. AVP 2. AVP 2, I actually did a whole video defending that movie. I actually have a blast with AVP 2, but I know exactly what type of movie that is. It's just a creature splatter feature. That's what it is, you know? And it's more akin to, I guess, basically what Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, the newest one. You know, it's just a quick, down and dirty, a lot of blood, a lot of guts, pregnant ladies getting gestated, crazy shit. That, to me, feels like Fede Alvarez, you know? Like, a good double feature would be AVP Requiem and the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But crap, I forgot. I still need that AVP 2 Drumdums cut. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did. I made my all I did was make it brighter, you know? I went into my settings, the color grading, so you can actually see the damn movie now, okay? The DD Fix, yeah. But I have a blast with AVP 2, and I much prefer it to the first AVP because it's not neutered, you know? That movie fucking balls to the wall. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I guess if I had to pick a word for these types of movies, you could almost say they're disposable. You know what I mean? They're kind of like just disposable. Like if I could only keep 3 Alien movies, even though I have such a fun time with that one, I'd be okay. You can probably get rid of that one. You know, disposable. So that's what I'm afraid of with Fede Alvarez. As much as I love his movies and his direction, his production, I'm scared that a new Alien movie under his umbrella could be disposable. And Ridley Scott, he still had another 1 or 2 movies in his head to follow up with Covenant, but I think because of his age, I'm just guessing, maybe he's kind of just passing the reins. Say, hey, here, take Alien, do whatever you want with it. So I want Fede Alvarez to prove me wrong. What's up, Sumneat? I want him to prove me wrong. What if he gets, highly ambitious with this thing, even though it's a lower budget, and gives, surprises us? I always like a nice surprise. And I love Alien. I do. I love Alien. I think the Xenomorph is one of the scariest, most interesting, most mysterious, beautiful creatures ever created. Thank God for Giger, okay? Because there's only one Giger, and if there was no Giger, then we'd never have the Xenomorph. But the Xenomorph it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite, monsters. It might be my favorite, monster, Xenomorph.